Live on YouTube. Well, I think we're live. I can't really tell. That it says live. How do these people not know that they're live? I think it's live, but we are live, and we know we're live because all of our brain cells are still functioning. I'm Jeffery, the Christian whistleblower, and even though it's been a little bit of a minute since we've been with you, this is my buddy Wayne Steiger, and here we are. It's not your normal Sunday.
Yeah, everyone thought that this show was like gone, and I went, "Where'd you hear that at?"
Well, you know, Wayne, that's nothing like a good rumor.
I'll tell you, salacious gossip.
And if you can't find a good rumor, then start one.
Exactly. That goes as well with a religion
and politics.
Yeah, if you don't like the party, or the religion, well, start your own.
Absolutely, it's not as easy as it seems to be, but if you hit it right, you can make a lot of money. I'm in Dallas today, so.
Well, how is the Big D?
You know what? I used to be, when I was a younger man, very much enamored of the big cities. I liked it. Not so much anymore. I like to be out by my lake, sitting on my deck, yelling at dogs, telling people to keep off the grass. That's my style now, Wayne.
And that's nothing wrong with that style at all.
I just don't like the big cities like I used to. And I was talking to Cynthia last night. We were texting, actually, or what were we talking? But I used to really like the big cities, but she mentioned the energy. And back when I liked the big cities, I didn't really know that much about energy. So maybe now that I do, I pick up a little bit more on this stuff that's not what I like.
That's why I don't like Las Vegas. I mean, that town will suck you dry of your energy.
Yeah, and I am in downtown Dallas. In fact, after we get finished, I'm going to go over to Daley Plaza, where, of course, Kennedy was assassinated.
And sacrificed.
I'm going to shoot some video over there, and I'm going to do my first produced video, Wayne. I'm going to take all that back to Kansas City and put it all together, and hopefully within the next 6 months put out a nice produced video.
I look forward to it. So what are you doing in Dallas?
Well, we're on the Odyssey radio network, Rocky and I, and even me by myself. We got a couple shows there, and they have a big booth at the Alien Con down here in Dallas, Texas. And I was accosted yesterday by Giorgio Tsoukalos, came up behind me. I didn't know that it was him, so it was nice to see Giorgio. And we got a nice group out, and we're just handing out free stickers and pressing flesh and saying hi to everybody.
Good deal. Good crowd?
It's sold out yesterday, so it must be a really good crowd.
Excellent. And
we're at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center, which is huge. So, and you could have everybody in Dallas here, and it would look like it was empty.
Yeah, I think they renamed that. I knew Kay back in the day.
She was a pretty nice lady, wasn't she?
She was, yeah. Much better than, who was the crazy woman?
Oh, yeah, the lady with the white hair.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Got a story about her.
Mrs. Texas Politics.
Yeah. Got bumped from my first class seat because of her.
Oh, no. But I found out that they don't like you bringing Glock 19s into the convention center, Wayne. I found that out.
Yeah, well, that might have a little, uneasiness to it.
So I had to take a trip back down to the car, but
I can always see that.
Big news, though, Wayne. I'm at this Marriott hotel here, and I'm about a mile from Daley Plaza. And have you seen this new thing? They got these scooters. Yeah. You put your credit card for the scooter, you ride the scooter. I'm going to ride the scooter to Daley Plaza and back. So that should be an adventure.
The pros and cons here in Denver, they got a lot of injuries.
Well, I was thinking about live streaming it, but then I don't know if I want to live stream a wreck or not.
A lot of people have been hurt up here. And anyway, but, I like the Segways. To me, those were pretty cool as well.
Well, I'm going to give it a shot. I mean,
I think it'd be fun.
I've never ridden one of those before. But, I mean, I was here last time when I came down for the Talk is Jericho interview. And there's this old lady, and, sorry, but she was old, like 65, 70. And she's flying down the road, had to be 15, 20 miles an hour. Nothing but a dress. It's blowing in the wind. I'm like, lady, if you go down, you're probably not getting up.
Oh, I don't know. 65 isn't old.
Yeah, but if she'd have gone down, none of that no protection or nothing. Oh, I was worried for her.
Well, they don't require that. I think there should be helmet, pads on the elbows and knees. I
Well,
mean,
these things
yeah,
are just sitting on the streetway, and you walk up to them with your credit card. You have an app, and it unlocks it, and away you go.
yeah, those
Then you just
companies,
ditch it wherever you are.
and literally that's what they have found them here in the Platte River.
Well, they don't do that. I haven't seen them in the river, but and
Yeah.
my son in Norfolk, Virginia, actually makes money recharging them.
Well, it's those cottage industries.
It
Yeah,
is. There's a job for
yeah,
everybody in this
yeah.
economy.
I mean,
Sometimes two or three if you want them.
UPS just got FAA approval for their drone delivery.
Pretty soon it's going to be like those movies, where you
Yes,
have all the traffic 8 or 10 layers deep in the air.
it's coming. It
That'll be
is.
fun.
And then you got to think of the police state, because now, drones are going to be becoming almost commonplace. You're not going to know who's spying and who isn't. I think they all will be. I mean, they all have to have a camera.
Well, if I was Amazon, I would have like some battle drones to shoot down the Walmart drones and stuff.
It's coming, man. I'll tell you what, we're living in a new electronic prison, unbeyond Star Trek. We all grew up with that. And we always fascinated, computer, and, the computer would
You can
answer.
talk to it, yeah.
We never thought about the fact that somebody else would be listening.
That's a good point.
You know?
Hey, Wayne, I heard that women are allowed to go topless in Colorado now.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen much of it. Yeah, winter's coming.
Who wants to go topless in Colorado?
I don't know.
I hear New Mexico as well. So the mountain states it's a good place if you want to go topless.
Well, I think sunburns would be a big problem.
Could you imagine someone on a scooter riding topless in Denver?
Well, they had a big protest. I think it was, well, I say big. There was a couple hundred women that showed up. The topless protest.
And were they all topless?
No, they said vast majority of them. Well, yeah.
Because if you go to a topless protest, you've got to be topless, right? Or you're not really into the movement.
And their argument was, and it's one that's sound, is that Western culture, unfortunately, has demonized women's anatomy, breast, to be associated with a sexual aspect, whereas with men, it's just a chest. Their argument is valid.
All Canadian women can go topless, says Sunshine.
Yeah, I think it's probably much more than what people think about, but we have to get this cultural change of mind.
It's going to take a while, Wayne. That's all I can say.
What was the old saying? The reason why God didn't give men tits is that they'd stay home and play with them all day.
Probably.
Yeah.
KT, nice to see you.
Hey, KT, what's up?
She's been going through a rough patch. Nice to see her here.
There have been a couple people, there have been several people that have been going through rough patches.
There I have. And Wayne, I've mistakenly left the picture of Donald Trump up for
Yeah, I saw that.
Sorry about that, but
listen, if I was Mr. Trump, my goodness, I mean, where do you go for solace?
like I yelled at you, did a whole show and you didn't even say what happened, and I did say what happened. Essentially, what happened is, and we should just let everybody know, Joe Biden told a sovereign nation that if they didn't fire a particular prosecutor that he and Obama didn't want in, that they weren't going to get their aid money, which was billions of dollars.
Well, they were he was investigating Hunter.
Oh, is that? See, I didn't even know that part. He was investigating Biden's son.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, if you don't fire him, you're not getting your billions. So Biden's sitting there, and before the sun went down, they fired him. So Trump told the guy in the Ukraine, hey, you guys should look into this.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump is going to get impeached for saying you should look into the fact that the vice president of the United States intervened into a sovereign nation to get a prosecutor fired because he was investigating his son, who's a crook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That only in America, Wayne, only in America.
I don't understand. So how is this any different than Obama talking to Moldova, whoever the president of Russia was in that time, and quote unquote saying, let me win this election here and this next one, and you and I can do business.
Oh, exactly. Because one's a Democrat and one's not, Wayne.
Excuse me.
One's a
Well,
Democrat, one's not.
did we miss something on that? Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta love Trump though, because he's embroiled in all this, and you'd think that he'd want to walk carefully and choose his words. And he goes out and has a press conference on his way to, I think he was on his way to the Villages in Florida, and he says, "And by the way, China should investigate Biden too, because his son got threw out of the Navy. He's a crook. He's been making a lot of money over there. How do you go from being kicked out of the Navy to making $50,000 a month as a consultant
Well,
on?"
why aren't they investigating the Clinton Foundation and the whole uranium deal that went down in Ukraine?
Exactly. So it's a joke. It's just another
I
distraction.
mean, come on, folks. That one is actually was out and they squashed the story, but that was criminal. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
If you really
hello?
think he's going to get removed from office on this, I'm sorry, but
It's listen, the virus is in full swing. It
it
really
is.
is. This is don't get caught into it, folks.
You
Don't
couldn't
get
even get a lawyer to take this case. It's laughable.
it's a sham. As you said, it's a coup. I did it on my Thursday radio show. The United States is witnessing the first time out in the open a actual coup. Now in my
Somebody sent me some stuff, Wayne, where there's a interesting correlation between Kennedy making the speech about the shadowy cabal, and there's a group and they're bad people, we got to get rid of them, and then he gets killed. And in October of that year, 63, the CIA rebelled against Kennedy. Here we are in 2019. It was the end of September. The CIA rebels against Trump. Trump was seen in a speech right at the end of the campaign saying, "I used to be in a group. It was fun, but now I'm not, and they're coming after me." So there's a lot of parallels. And I just thought of this one this morning. The Warren Commission investigated Kennedy's assassination, and who's the probable nominee now with Bernie going to the hospital and Biden in trouble? Wouldn't it be interesting if Trump was running against a Warren,
oh yeah, and Warren's
Pocahontas Warren?
she's a racist. She's an admitted racist. That's what freaks me out is that people are actually embracing her.
She's a dummy.
I mean, when you take on the heritage of a people that you did not have any part of and you exploited it for your own personal gain, that's a racist.
And she's gotten a lot of jobs and a lot of preferential placement and stuff over faking that she was an Indian. Why did he go with Pocahontas instead of Sacagawea? It's easier
I
to say, right?
don't know. I mean, we live in a weird, weird time.
But
We do.
unless she can get enough people to hit the peace pipe hard and get out on the warpath, I don't think she's going to be moving into that big white teepee in Washington, D.C.
Oh no, no. And don't and it wouldn't surprise me to see Hillary get back involved.
That's the thing that's in the woods. Is she laying in the weeds saying, I'll jump in at the very end? And does she really want another ass whipping?
I mean, is that the best that American politics can put forward? I mean, back in the day, we had McGovern. I was talking to my brother down in Houston this about the other day, and I was a Democrat at one time. I was a huge McGovern fan. Got tear gas, got my head bashed in by a nightclub by the Houston cops because we were protesting the establishment in the Vietnam War. But I look at this today and I'm going, everyone has lost their freaking mind.
Yeah.
When you've got politicians promoting hate, I mean, whoa, what's happened here?
Isn't it interesting how, you were protesting the war, and I'm pretty sure in the 80s you were a big Reagan guy, but
Mm-hmm.
Reagan was one of the guys that was gassing, shooting, beating
Yeah,
kids
yeah,
hardcore.
it
He
is.
said
It's
if
so
it takes a
true.
bloodbath, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Reagan was no friend of the hippies or the counterculture at all.
At least not officially.
No, no. And who'd have thought? I'm hoping that this whole, I don't know, maybe it's what Williams was it? Is it Williamson? Yeah, she was right, and it's now taken some legs. There's a dark energy over America.
Well, I think there's a dark energy over the people that hate the president. I think the people that are so support of
That's a
the
fact.
president, there's actually a very good, positive, uplifting, optimistic energy. I mean, look at a Trump rally and it's a love fest.
Yeah, I worry though about psychically the man. I mean, listen, when you're being the recipient of so much hate, and that's dark energy that's being directly focused at you. Um, yeah, that takes a tough mind.
Hmm. You know, Wayne, I happen to have um, a pretty good measure of experience in this department.
What, hate?
I get a lot of hate directed at me, a lot of hate directed at me.
Yeah.
And I learned how to transmute it. You just take it and it's just energy. You just take it, you blow off the hate part of it, and you use the energy. And I think Trump loves it. I think he knows how to transmute and use that energy too. I think he wants either people to love him or people to hate him. And he doesn't particularly care which one. He probably would prefer love because that equals a vote. But he can use the hate because he can channel that into energy that he uses to be himself. And the people that love him will continue to support him for that. So I really don't think Trump, it doesn't affect him one bit, the hate. Now, Melania, people around him, you know, Cynthia can get, she feels the hate and she feels the bad energy, and you know there's black magic and stuff coming my way. We know it. I laugh at it. It's a little tough for her, but it is something that is real. I don't think Trump, it bothers Trump, but Melania is probably not real happy about it.
Yeah, I'll just add to the equation. Politics is a different game. Trump was playing in the corporate world, which it basically you bribe the politicians by lobbying them. He was
Right.
used to that. This is these people are vicious. I mean, I've never seen a time where the polarization of ideologies have manifested this way. It's insane. It's just insane.
Well, I think they realized the deep state, the dark state. I think that they realized that, I mean, he's already come in less than 4 years, has completely decimated the mainstream media. They're a joke. They no longer have any power. Nobody listens to them anymore, which of course is great news for us. Every rung that the mainstream media gets knocked down, you know, we get another opportunity to talk to more people. And I think that the Democrats have seen that he's taken their party apart, and the Republicans thought that was great until they realized, oh crap, he's taking our party apart too. And I think the whole political structure of America is teetering in the balance. And Trump really, he said, I'm going to come in and destroy the whole thing and we'll rebuild it. And now they're realizing, oh crap, this guy is going to do it and these people want him to do it. They're literally fighting for their lives. The deep staters, the dark staters, the professional career politicians, they're fighting for their lives. And I think they're trying to fix the corral after the horses have run off. So I think it's over for them.
I don't think they're going to give up.
No, they won't give up.
I did a fictional what if on my Thursday show called The Coup, and in my fictional story, um, they do impeach Trump. The Senate sends back a no bill. Now, I did this Thursday, and then Friday there was a headline. I said, then they're going to send the sergeant of arms with an arrest warrant for Trump.
Hmm.
And what happened on Friday? It came out that Tableez is meeting in committees in determining how they're going to arrest Trump officials. Now, I don't. You're painting, I think, one direction. I think this is going to get ugly. I think what they want, and I think they're going to get it, is an all-out civil war.
Hmm. I think that they want a coup, but they're just cuckoo, and they don't even when it comes down to it, they won't even impeach Trump. They won't even go that far. That's my prediction.
I think just the opposite. I think they are going to have articles of impeachment, and it's going to get really interesting because Trump's a fighter.
Should we bet on it, Wayne?
Oh no, because it's a no-win scenario for America. That's the problem. This is what we're talking about. It's a
But is
no-win.
it? I wonder though, because this really, I mean, if Trump was looking for something to re-energize his base and make sure that they're all with him prior to 2020, this is the ticket. I mean, this re-energizes the MAGA crowd, the Keep America Great crowd. And I mean, everybody that voted for Trump the first time, I can't see any of those people deserting him. So now it's a battle for really 10-12% of the electorate to see who can capture that.
No, you've got 34 so far to date Republican congressmen that are retiring. I think Texas is going to go against Trump. I think, and this is the thing that really bothers me, Jeffrey, in all this, is that when we're talking about this insanity of this make-believe hoopla, the United States has over 3 million Americans homeless. We've got estimated nearly another million veterans that are homeless on the streets. Homelessness in the United States is now at epidemic levels. In the city of Los Angeles, you've got diseases that were only seen in third world countries. What I don't understand in all of this back and forth, they're the ones that are hurting. We got people going hungry in this country, but no one's addressing those issues. I think if Trump was smart, that's where they would begin to put their efforts, because that shows compassion.
That's an interesting point. No doubt about it. It certainly is something we should look at.
It's sad. It breaks my heart. And the thing about it is, I'm doing this expose study right now. We're going to bring it out. The pedophilia of the sex trafficking amongst the homeless population is disgusting. It doesn't get reported.
Reason why they're going after Trump with impeachment, because he's busting open their pedophilia rings.
I mean, this is a story no one will touch, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to blow it out on YouTube, and if it gets banned, fine. I'll take it to my radio station. But here's the point. There is this exploitation that one of the two parties are supporting. And all I know is that this is getting to the point of where if we've become a society where we turn our backs and say, oh, well, I'm not homeless, so I don't have to deal with that because the problem's too big, man. In the meantime, you've got children, 3-4 years old, turning up missing. Their mothers, when they begin to complain, the mothers turn up missing. What's going on here? You see, that is the underbelly no one wants to talk about.
Right.
Excuse me. I get emotional on this because society is judged by its compassion to those who cannot defend themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a segment of and I'll just say it, I think there's a sizable segment of is it 50%? Is it 40%? I would guess it's somewhere around there, 30 to 50% of the homeless that are there because they want to be there. There's mental health issues.
And that's the point. We need to talk about mental health because Reagan decimated that whole part of the medical equation. He's the one who shut down the asylums, the psychiatry wards, and what have we. We dumped millions of mentally ill people, and look at where we're reaping those rewards today.
Yeah, and I mean the answer is not just to warehouse people. There's other answers. But I tell you what, when you start making you start bringing American troops home and you start making other countries pay for, the support and the protection of American troops, you got a lot more money to use at home. And Tracy makes a good point saying a lot of it is spiritual health, not mental health issue.
That is, but unfortunately, Christianity has hijacked that whole term spiritual.
It sure has.
And what they've done, and it's been a very good PR job, is that they've demonized the word spirituality because that gets into the metaphysical New Agers,
That's true too. And I mean, let's think about this, Wayne, since we're talking about this, and I'll just say it. What would you guess is the drug and alcohol addiction percentage among the chronic hardcore homeless?
Oh, it's probably, if it's not 80-90%.
So if those same people were in a nice home, would 80 or 90% of them still be hooked on drugs and alcohol?
Well, it's with any addiction, and that can be sexual, it can be mental abusers. But if we're talking about, in this case, stimulants or other, not stimulants, you know what I mean?
Opiates.
It will take time. I mean, the brain loves the dopamines.
Right.
And, You know, and listen, I think on the other point, I've been homeless. I know what it feels like. Depression sets in, and it is a spiritual thing. This is where the whole problem is. Our society is spiritually sick.
Yeah,
I mean, when you say that America is a Christian nation, then what you're saying is that America is a blood nation.
exactly. And
And
it survives on the slaughter and sacrifice of innocents.
it does. It does. That's why no one deals with the pedophilia problem in these homeless camps. You know, the cops don't go in there. The city officials don't go in there. No one cares.
And you're looking for the church to fix the pedophilia problem?
Yeah.
Pedophilia is one of their sacraments. They'll never fix it. It's part of what they do.
That's like the fox in the hen house.
Yeah, let's put the fox in charge of the hen house.
Why not? It works.
But Wayne, somebody that just tuned in here and heard me say that pedophilia is part of Christianity, you agree and laugh at it. What are these people thinking that they've just stumbled in here? How do we talk to them and say, but you just can't get them? I mean, you're kneeling in front of a torture device, a cross. Some of you have a dead guy still on the stick. You're eating his flesh. You're drinking his blood. You're asking to be covered by his blood. You want to be possessed by him. If it was a horror movie, you would understand it completely. But because it's church, all of a sudden, you can't get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's the crazy people here?
Oh, that's the point. And then the ones that actually promote, you know, the very factors that lead into this, alcohol. Listen, we could be like a Muslim nation and just make it a dry country. One piece of legislation, although we found out that doesn't work so well. We tried that.
Let me ask you a question, Wayne. How many people do you think are alcoholic today because they got their first drink during Catholic communion?
That's a good question.
I'll bet there's a pretty good number.
Yeah,
because they drink alcoholic wine, right?
Yeah, they do.
Cheap wine, but it's wine.
Yeah. You know, but then the French, they it's customary to have a bottle of wine for every dinner, and all children and adults partake.
Yeah.
But they don't have the religious thing in there, do they?
Well, France is very Catholic, but it's just culturally Catholic. There's not really a lot of spirituality. Tracy Dyer says that she first got drunk on communion.
Well, you were feeling the spirit then.
But see, that just goes to my point. There's people right now that are hooked on alcohol and drugs, probably because it's an entry drug. And there's probably people that are homeless right now because of their first communion.
I'll say this. If you want to take the drug addiction to its, I think, true, honest definition, by that definition, 85% of the population of the United States is on a pharmaceutical drug of some kind.
Yeah. And then we've got this, we've got the people that are in the so-called spiritual realm. And this is a comment out of our chat room. Natural drugs are the best. Opium, cocaine, mescaline, mushrooms, hemp, all good in moderation.
Been around since the beginning of us. Man has always looked to self-anesthetize.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. Our burden here, I'm convinced that this is a hell planet. Has all the trappings of it. But the point is, you go back, honey wine. That's one of the first wines we found early man was producing.
Was that mead?
Yeah. And, we like getting drunk. We like getting high, because we want to escape this reality. And people say, well, you just have to face reality, sober. What does that mean? And the water I drink has got enough pharmaceuticals in it, estrogen and what have you, that it'll make me start growing breast if I started drinking it regular.
I don't know. I still can't embrace the whole mushroom, DMT, pot, shamanic tool thing. It's something in me says it's it's a shortcut. It's people that don't want to do the spiritual work. They don't want to do the dark night of the soul. They just want to smoke something, swallow something, and learn the mysteries of the universe. I'm sorry, but most people are freaking lazy. Most people want the easy way out. You've been taught the easy way out. You've been taught the shortcuts. And I don't know, Wayne. I have still yet to be convinced that, oh, let's do mushrooms and become enlightened. Let's do DMT and become enlightened. Why don't we do some damn inward dark night of the soul instead of just lighting something up or making some kind of tea? I'm still not convinced. Go ahead,
Well,
attack
I
me.
think with number one, you have abuse on either sides of
You're lazy.
novices. But if you take in the proper ritualistic approach, particularly psilocybin, that would be mushroom, peyote, those things. You know, I question people who say they do, because let me tell you what you will encounter. You will encounter the dark soul. It comes out. And I don't know why. It tells me I don't think a lot of people are actually doing it.
What do you mean, Wayne?
I think they're bullshitting. And here's why.
Wayne just said a dirty word. That's funny.
You take
Sovereign, I've never done cocaine either. How will I know if I don't give that a go? I've never done heroin either. How do I know if I won't give that a go?
No. And here's my point. Every hallucinogen that I took, and it's been decades ago, but let me tell you what, the thing that gave people bad trips, and there was a lot of them, it's because they saw what was inside. They didn't like it.
If they had dealt with that prior to, it probably wouldn't have got them, would it?
Exactly.
Ooh.
I have
so
seen.
Are you saying, Wayne, that if you don't do your spiritual work first, you're setting yourself up for a potential bad trip?
Bad trip. And the problem, those kind of trips, they don't leave you.
Really?
They don't.
Wayne, you may have stumbled on the biggie, but how do you tell that? You just tell it to people. They do it or they don't do it.
Yeah. I face those demons. Yeah. And
Sovereign Integral, if you don't like it, go to another channel.
Well, we'll do our tombstone. Bye.
Well, bye. No. I'm telling you, I've been in this for 39 years. In some way or another, teaching people, trying to lead people into spirituality. And most of them are lazy. Most of them want a shortcut. And I need to be convinced that the people promoting, and let's face it, if we wanted to, Wayne, we could go and get a 501c3 and we could become like a peyote church or an ayahuasca church.
Yeah.
They charge like $600 per experience. Dude, we can get the ayahuasca for $50, $60, $80.
That is just amazing. I mean, here we go.
There's a sucker born every minute, and in this genre, there's 3 or 4 born every minute. I'm just saying.
Because many of them come out of the Christian doctrination, and so they carry those ritualistic ideas still in the back of their heads.
And don't you have to get your DMT from like a drug dealer?
I think you do.
I'm just saying, folks.
I think in some places, I think psilocybin is, for veterans, is now being approved, but it's a synthesized psilocybin.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But
so I want to go back. I like Wayne's prescription. Do your spiritual work first. Then once you get to a place where you have done some work, then if you want to take it to the next level, maybe incorporate some of these shamanic drugs, as they're being called.
I tell people you can actually do breathing exercises and get the same effect. You can.
I know, I've done it.
Yeah. And but now that requires a disciplined body too.
See, all these things: discipline,
discipline,
time, actually
effort.
Studying, effort. Wayne, we don't want these things, man. We just want to light up.
We want to take that little pill that makes us happy.
Yeah, just give me the magic pill. There's no magic pill for life, and there's no magic pill for spirituality.
There isn't.
There
There
really
isn't.
isn't. You
No.
might have a great trip and see colors and all this stuff, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean you're spiritual. And oh,
Just means
Wayne,
you're high.
I wonder how many of these people they have these experiences and they think they've got it and they don't listen anymore.
Yes, and that is something very important it's amazing the synchronicity here. So last night I'm reading this article in Psychology Today, and the big concern is that you start putting chips into the brain, we can stimulate that area where you will see God.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. They can now duplicate the same effect that these drugs do to get you to that place. Now we can do it through stimulating through electrical impulses directly to the brain. And you're going to see God. God's going to talk to you. You're going to have visions. You're going to come out a new convert. And the thing is, you're probably going to find the first, most likely Christian religion. You're going to go probably Pentecostal, if not full charismatic.
That's
Mm-hmm.
very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And so you think about the transhumanism movement. You know, Eric Schmidt said this today, former CEO of Google. He said that, you know, biology now is the new golden age, the new frontier. I contend, Jeff, if we continue on, probably in 200, 300 years, the digital God will be the new God.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I think we're going to get a whole new revelation. I think that once these chips begin to be implanted, you begin a larger mass consciousness, what we call collective intelligence. We will, in fact, put away the Bible because God will be appearing to humanity once again and be giving new revelation.
I'm sorry to see someone in the chat room says demons flee from me when I smoke weed. Really? Good luck with that.
Well, that's fun. But I think that this is the way it's going. And if we now know the center of the brain that is actually activated through a conversion, a religious conversion, and you can begin to stimulate that, you get that going in a large enough group of people, and you're going to have a whole new experience for humanity.
Interesting. Wayne, would it surprise you? And I don't think I've ever asked you this question. I've had no less than 3 real, true, legitimate, hardcore indigenous shaman tell me that they say by far the most dangerous medicine for possession. They all 3 said the same thing. Guess which one they said?
Mm-hmm.
Marijuana, pot, weed for possession. The most dangerous one for possession.
Well, there's a lot of people doing dumb things out there. So I don't know. I think about that, and I think alcohol would be the other.
Ooh, yeah, because we weren't including. I bet you alcohol would be the number one.
They called it spirits. I mean, you go into a bar, that's why they call it spirits.
You know, it's funny when someone doesn't like a fact you bring. Bullshit. You know what? It's oh boy, I need to quit. I need to learn to quit looking at the chat. It's so easy in this world now. People don't have to deal with anything they don't want to deal with. Oh, that's not true. Sorry. And I don't have, see, this again is me. I don't have a horse in the game. I don't have a dog in the fight. My give a damn's busted.
You know, when you said that, I was hearing Paul McCartney, "Live and Let Live."
So let's follow this train of thought for a minute, and I'm stealing this from Tracy Dyer. So the government, most people in our genre say the government's evil, right? The government's wicked, right? Government's bad. So anything the government is supporting, we could say is bad, right?
The antithesis.
Well, government after government after government is now legalizing weed. Ponder that one out. Carry that one out. Do they know that weed is bad for us? It's going to help us be more easily controlled? I'm just saying, if the government's evil and they're promoting the legalization of weed.
We live in a different reality. I was telling my audience on my channel that when I was growing up, what we had was coffee commercials, cleaning products, cigarettes, and beer commercials. today children grow up with pharmaceutical commercials.
Oh, isn't that horrible?
Yeah, I
I
mean
don't know if
they're
this is true, Wayne, but it's a great quote. Somebody said, Matthew Garvin says that sympathy is found between shit and syphilis in the dictionary.
now that's funny.
I love it. That's a great quote.
You know, I'm reading this book called the God Virus, and so the question is, they ask in there, "Do you worship a god?"
Me?
Yeah,
No.
I don't either.
I work with some on occasion, but I don't worship any of them.
And that's the whole thing. And it's so interesting as I'm reading this book, and they're doing it from a clinical perspective. They're
And
really,
that's right. Monsanto's taken over the cannabis business too, by the way.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll tell you why the United
So if
States
it's the
government,
greatest thing in the world and the government's promoting it, I'm just saying that makes me pause a moment.
well, they want the tax revenue.
But would they're not? I don't see them promoting the tax revenue from meditation classes.
Mm-mm. No,
Anyway,
no, there's no money in that.
I'll get off of that.
There's no money in it.
Where isn't there
Colorado,
money in that?
we they tax this in our state. It's 25%, and if you're out of state, you're going to be paying 40%.
Really, tax?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Colorado's made billions, and of course, what happens? Washington D.C. is seeing this, and they're going, "Oh, wait a minute,
What are they
what?"
doing with the billions they're making?
That's a good question. I would really like to know because they just keep raising taxes, and it's saying to go to education. You know, that's the biggest tax scam on Americans is education.
Oh yeah, all you have to do is say education.
Yeah,
Tracy says weed is good for sheep control. Tracy, you're going to get in trouble.
yeah, Tracy.
I'm kind of agreeing with her though.
Yeah. Well, I think the sheeple mentality has been part of man as well.
I had someone that I've been dealing with for years and years and years and telling them they use too much marijuana. They use too much marijuana. And this person finally called me up the other day and said, look, I realized I was addicted to marijuana and I don't do it anymore and I feel much, much better.
I think just if it depending on how you're consuming it, there would be natural
Yeah,
is that the tendency with most humans is that they over saturate on every.
exactly. If you wake up in the morning and before your feet hit the floor, you're smoking, you got a problem, cousin.
That's going a little extreme.
No, I
And
know many, I could name 10 people right now, Wayne, that do that.
then I have known women in my past that had
You're wrong, Karen.
shopping addictions.
Yeah.
Before their feet hit the floor, they were already thinking about what they were going to
I
buy.
was doing a marriage counseling. This is a true story one day. I remember his name was Link. I can't remember her name, but they're sitting in front of me. And I said, folks, what's the problem? And she says, before his feet hit the floor in the morning, he's smoking weed. That bothers me. And I said, well, what do you want to say to Link? And she says, it's either me or the marijuana. And I said, Link, what do you want to say to whatever her name was? He turned to her and he said, I don't think you want me to have to make that decision.
I don't, you know, when I hear stories like that, you just got to step back and you got to say, well, then what's the issue here?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a core issue that's driving a person to basically be numb um, and go through life. I mean, is life that miserable?
For some people, it is. It is an escapism. You're right.
And I'm not being racially divided here, but the biggest population that I'm seeing right now are the blacks. You know, it's everywhere, and it's almost part of the culture now.
Hmm.
You have to have pot.
And you know what? I don't care what you say to me, and listen to yourself when you say this to me. Are you telling me that inhaling smoke into your lungs is not harmful?
I'm hearing a Bob Newhart thing on Sir Walter Riley when he shipped the first tobacco over.
How can you inhale smoke into your lungs and say it's good for you? It's
So
not.
that's part of the skit. So Walter, let me get this right. I set it on fire and then I suck it in? Where did you see this happening at? They do it all the time. Well, Walter, wouldn't that be kind of hazardous to your health?
You would think so.
You would think so. So let me get this right. I set it on fire and then I suck it in. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Now, is that much? But now I can see people that are using it for chronic pain. It's much better than down in a bunch of OxyContin. I'll go with you there. But to say, oh, it's perfectly fine, it's not going to hurt me. No, it's just a lot less bad for you than the OxyContin.
And on the side of pain management, now, you know, I'm just going to be candid there. Marijuana does stop epilepsy. It has, we have many parents that have moved here to Colorado because of their children have advanced
The body
stages.
also has arsenic receptors. Google that one.
So in here, many children, now they're not smoking it. It is a type that is basically taken in through the tongue. But that type of medication does work. The CBDs work as well. And that takes out the THC. So if you take the CBD's equation, that's where they're finding amazing new pain management therapies.
Yeah. You know, I hear a lot of people say that CBD works, and then I hear an expert like my friend Jay Campbell say that CBD is garbage. So I don't know, because I never used either one of them. I never used it or not used it, obviously. So some people say it really works. Is it psychosomatic, or does it really work?
Well, I suffer from Lyme disease, and fibromyalgia sucks.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And the CBDs do, in fact, work.
There you go. Well, Jay may be wrong on this one.
Yeah. You know, when you're being prescribed Lyrica, when my doctor prescribed that to me, no, I mean those drugs, those type of drugs, those that dampen the receptors, that particularly in the brain, those are not good things. And so, yeah, but you know, different people have different ways.
Yeah. And I made a remark about vape killing people, and somebody made a good point. So the vaping is bad for you, but who is the vaping taking money away from? The tobacco companies. So do we need to look again and make sure that vaping really is bad for you, and it's not just the tobacco companies?
The tobacco companies are moving into the cannabis industry.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's where they're going. And yeah. You know, I used to work in raising sponsorship for NASCAR, and Salem, Winston was a place I visited quite often because of the Winston Tobacco Company.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah. And, you know, we loved those tobacco companies because they had the biggest marketing budgets.
Oh, I'll bet.
It was it was a huge commission for me because, you know, yeah, anyway, but I see it inevitably in the next 5 years, marijuana will be legal in all 50 states in the United States.
Well, I mean, President Trump has allegedly been wanting to do that, you know, across the board. So,
well, we got to come up with money somehow. I mean, you know, the United States government is broke. We are technically bankrupt. And, you know, here's the whole thing. We're talking about impeachment, but yet this Congress is spending money like there's no tomorrow. Already $1.2 trillion we're in deficit spending. Where the freak is this money going to? So let's just get everybody high and that we tax them on that. And that will just be a huge slush fund for us.
yeah.
It sucks.
And I tell you what, if you were the government and you wanted to take over, let's say that you're the government and you wanted to disrupt the consciousness community, I can't think of a better plan than to legalize marijuana and then put controlling substances in it.
And think about this, Jeffrey. For the youth, it retards memory retention. And they got there already, their Black Mirror devices that are sucking their memory already. We're talking about when these people get to be 50 years old, who's going to take care of these people?
Wow. You
I
and I
mean,
won't be around anymore,
no,
probably.
no, no, we'll be gone. But you're going to have a mass zombie apocalypse because they're not going to be able to remember.
It's already starting.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see them walking around with drool going, what do we do now?
Wow.
It's getting weird out there, Jeffrey. So
It is getting weird.
what? So Alien Con, what is the big thing out there? Is disclosure coming? What is this thing with the Navy? Was this in fact evidence of soft disclosure? What are you hearing?
Well, I haven't been able to really go to any of the seminars. I mean, I saw Giorgio briefly, but I haven't seen anybody or talked to anybody. I'm just at the booth handing out free stickers and talking to people about Odyssey Radio. So I really don't know, Wayne. I haven't been able to get a sense of the vibe yet.
Well, if you pick it up, let us know. I'm real curious about this because something's happening.
Oh, I think there's definitely something happening, and it's just it's hard. You have to decide what's true and what's not true. So it's hard, but I don't know. I really don't know what's going on.
Okay, and it sounds like it's a good crowd, right?
Oh, it's a huge crowd. I mean, it's in this big convention center. They sold out. It's really there's, and all the big people are here. So
How about George? Is he down there?
George is not here for this one. I guess he's doing something else. But Wayne, do you? I mean, we got just a few minutes left. This whole thing about disclosure, disclosure, disclosure. Is that just another unicorn? I mean, is disclosure really what we think it is?
I think it's a distraction.
I do too.
I do.
Everybody that, I mean, who are they going to disclose it to? Though everybody that they could do disclosure, we already know.
It's like, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks for telling us.
Yeah, glad that we got that off our
Yeah,
list.
grass is green and water's wet.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know.
Ooh, Tracy says disclosure is going to be is that disclosure will be that there are not aliens.
Yeah. Boy.
Ooh, I like that one.
Well, NASA is saying that they have a major announcement coming, but quote unquote, now this can be part of the hype, but they're having second thoughts because they don't know if the American public is ready for it.
Yeah. Somebody told me abusing cannabis will get me nowhere. Well, it's got me from about 1,000 subscribers to 40,000 so far.
uh, so I guess the thing that I look at and I ask myself, so what is going on here? I mean, if we're really, I did this thing on my channel, Jeffrey, that I said perfectness doesn't exist. And lo and behold, Stephen Hawking, in one of his lectures, basically said the same thing. He said, it is impossible for the perfect to exist, for if it did, we wouldn't. And my point to all this is people believe in a perfect God. That's part of the.
Oh, that's good.
There is no perfect God, ladies and gentlemen. Never was, never will be. The reason is, as Hawking said, what do you do in a state of perfectness? What's left?
Only to get bad, right? Get worse.
Exactly. You can't go anywhere up. You can only go down.
Somebody said Guy is promoted by the New York Times. Well, it is if they pay their bill.
Yeah, they got to pay their bill.
They got to pay their bill.
Yeah, the New York Times has suffered some pretty big blows here lately.
Gaia is a good organization. They're trying to make a dollar like everybody else, but they're at least doing it through putting out, high energy, enlightened programming. It's the Netflix of consciousness. That's all it is, and there's nothing wrong with Gaia.
And so I always look at this.
And if you want a free subscription, go to Gaia, put in /Jeff, and you get 2 weeks for free.
There you go. That's a bonus.
Absolutely.
They do got some good programming. I'm a subscriber. I'm a subscriber to Gaia. And I like
the rumor is I'm going to be on a certain show that I can't name yet on Gaia this upcoming season, Wayne.
Excellent.
Looking forward to that.
Excellent. Glad to hear it, my friend. But it gets back to this whole point. If perfectionist is an illusion, wow, imagine that kind of reverses the whole thing. And then what's the purpose of humanity here?
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a good point. And if perfection is unattainable, then this God that they say is perfect doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. Can't exist. Stephen Hawkins gave the mathematical formula. He said, you cannot, he said, like produces after like. He said, for imperfectness to even have existed, it had to exist with imperfectness, which means that perfectness would be merely an outgrowth of imperfectness, but it would always be imperfect.
Yeah. So I think whatever we would call the divine was probably once like we are and has come through a lot of imperfection to find its place where it is now.
Yes. Yes.
But it's still not perfect because it's still growing.
It's still growing. Are you satisfied?
No.
No, neither am I.
And anything that's a perfect God would never be satisfied either.
No. I think that just blows my mind when it finally sunk in. I was out walking at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking up there, and it just hit me. There is no God that would be perfect. If there is anything close to this God is still learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So far out.
It is far out, man, and it's the truth.
It is the truth. It is. So
we got to keep going. We got to keep growing.
It's something I'd love to get more into in a discussion on this whole concept of the idea that we wrap ourselves around. And this is how we judge others. This is why people write the comments they do, because they're suddenly going, oh, wait a minute, that's not me. That offended me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but you learn from that. Anyway, I digress.
But I mean, we get into this big battle about pot and weed, and just ask yourself, are you hooked on it? Can you do without it? Are you sure that it's really everything you want it to be? Is it a shortcut for you? Are your shrooms a shortcut? Is your DMT a shortcut, or are you using it properly? Only you can make those decisions. Only you know. So check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah, find the balance. That's what I say. Find the balance.
My job is to have you either saying that was the greatest thing I've ever heard, or he's a son of a bitch. That's what I'm here for. I don't want to hear, oh, that was a pretty good show. No.
Yeah, pretty good show. Yeah.
I want you cussing me or writing songs about me, one or the other.
One of the two. Either love me or hate me, but don't get me in between and being.
Just don't be impartial. I can't use impartiality.
That's the what is it? The 3 levels of how a person can harm another person. You have lying, deception, betrayal, and the most offensive of them all is indifference.
It is.
Yeah.
Indifference is no good.
Whoa. I mean, that's the biggest insult at all.
And by the way, I hate to disappoint some of you, but I don't drink alcohol. I kept saying, well, you say this and you drink alcohol. Well, actually, no, I don't.
No, alcohol, it's a form of arthritis. It dries the bones.
Interesting. And Wayne, I actually went off of caffeine for like the whole time I was with Sandra. I was off caffeine because she didn't use it, and I weaned myself off, and I quit using caffeine and didn't really see much of a difference. And I like coffee, so I drink it again now.
Well, that's the number 1 drug of the world.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
Just live and let live.
Yep, live and let live.
I love you, man.
Yeah.
And we do, Jeffrey. We love you, and have a safe drive back home.
I will. I'll be heading back up later today, and we're going to head over to Daily Plaza now on the scooter.
That's going to be fun.
So we'll see what happens.
I can only see Rex Bear having that with the GoPro.
I have a GoPro, and I have a thing I put on my head. I just didn't think ahead.
Okay, yeah, that would
put them together.
That would be a good video, my friend.
But I've got this tripod that it's got bendy legs, and it would wind around the scooter, I think, and it would hold it. But I'm just wondering if the vibration of the scooter would make it totally shaky the whole time. I don't know.
Doesn't GoPro have an anti-shake?
Well, I don't have my GoPro with me. I would just.
Okay. All right. Well, it would be cool, but that's an idea though for the future.
Yeah, I'll do. If I'm back down here, I'll definitely do it.
Yeah, that would be definitely cool.
All right, Wayne. It's nice to see you, brother.
Good to see you, Jeffrey.
And good to see all my friends and enemies in the chat room as well.
We love them all. Hey,
We
listen,
do.
it's all right. We got 9 thumbs down. That's, there you go.
Just think it through. Think about
Yeah.
what you're doing. Take a self-inventory.
Well, now that requires effort.
That's true. It's easier to just smoke a bowl and say fuck it.
Peace, man.
Love you, Wayne. Love you,
Love you
everybody.
too,
We'll
Jeff.
see you again soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.